Today marks the start of the Republican National Convention, and the party will move quickly this evening to re-nominate President Trump. We bring in our analyst right now to break all this down for us. We've got our Republican strategist, Jackie Bally, as well as our Democratic one, Dallas Jones. Good morning to you both, and I'm glad to welcome you here. Jackie, let's start with you since you're on the Republican side of things. So the president will be obviously giving the acceptance speech at the end, but he's also expected to play a role every single night this week. So what is your thought behind this unconventional move?
So the president will be speaking every night, and what we're going to see at the RNC at our convention is going to be everyday stories about how the president's policies have uplifted the typical American. You're going to hear from our chairman in Texas, our Republican chairman, Allen West, who was born in an all-black hospital and rose himself up, and he's now leading one of the largest Republican parties in the country. And you'll also hear from a lot of people who have been uplifted and who've had the opportunity to prosper under the president's policies. Our convention is going to be more policy driven and a way to show how we will continue to move forward if the president is given another term.
And Dallas, some of the speakers that Jackie just mentioned aren't politicians. What do you think the strategy is behind that?
You said they are or aren't politicians.
They are not. Not all of them will be politicians.
Absolutely. I think it's very interesting that we're seeing a convention that is full of basically Trump. Half of the speakers of the convention have the last name Trump. The president has announced that he will speak every night, which is completely unconventional, but shows the narcissism of this president, which our party has highlighted is part of the problem, that the president is more self-absorbed with the best interests of himself, his family, and his friends, and not with the majority of the American people. I'm sure that they will go through and find people that can point to certain successes to Donald Trump's policies. But those successes are not indicative of all of America. And I think what the Democratic Party showed through our convention was what America ought to look like and what America is really composed of. And I think you'll see vast differences this week from the themes of the convention to the attendees of the convention. I'm interested to see what their policy conversations will be like, particularly around coronavirus and their response.
And Jackie, the convention will forego approving a new party platform, and they're going to really be emphasizing President Trump's current agenda. So how do you feel about that move, especially looking at our economy right now?
Well, we know that before the pandemic, the president had record numbers in low unemployment, particularly for people of color. And so we will highlight that, just as we did last time when we had the convention going into a very successful term. We're going to also talk about the fact that the president has done many things that his predecessors had not done from a foreign policy perspective. We're also going to look at how the president continues to focus on everyone, not just the elite, not just the swamp. Yes, I do agree with my colleague on one thing. You're not going to see Hollywood trumping coming in and saying, oh, they want a certain person to be elected. You're not going to see established Washington elitists coming in and trying to tell you that we're going to vote a certain way or we want a certain person. You're going to see an everyday average American, the same people in middle America that elected our president last time.
Well, you're also not going to see former presidents of the United States from your own party at the convention speaking, even though they exist. You're also not going to see any of the generals or officials that have worked in this White House speak, half of which are probably still in prison. So, you're not going to see these people speak. And so, at the end of the day, I'm curious to see what the Republican Party is going to produce this week. The president claims that they're going to produce this convention full of hope and talking about the promise of America and what his policies have done.
Well, as we know, Biden has been in office longer than both of us have been alive. So at least the president can have a policy that he says that he's worked on and he can move forward with, as opposed to Biden, who's been in office for 50 years.
All right, Jackie and Dallas, it's great to hear from you both, but we got to call it a wrap, my dears. Thank you so much for your time today. I know you're passionate about what you say, but we're out of time. So thank you again for your time.